Welcome to the Marine Corps Movie Minute. We're your hosts, Bryon and Jack, and we're going to go ahead and talk about the movie Heartbreak Ridge. We're going to start off with the Clint Eastwood Classic.
Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty classic movie, all right. Yeah, the first time I saw that movie, I think I was grounded, and mom and dad went around, so they'd rented it on video, and I threw it in and watched it, and it was awesome. It was like one of my first. How I was maybe like 10 or 11.
Yeah, about the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't. I was a kid. I didn't know any better.
Well, it's nothing like getting grounded and then finding, then you end up doing things you weren't supposed to do anyways.
Yeah, I was pretty notorious for that.
Well, yeah, I saw it about the same age, probably I was trying to think about that today, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And my dad was a big Clint Eastwood fan, and I think he saw it in a theater.
Oh wow.
And and when we had just moved to our new house, and this was a lot before Blockbuster even, and he knew that there was a VHS out on for it to rent, and my uncle had never seen it, so he called my uncle over, and then when my uncle got there, he ran to the video store. They got the movie, and they were watching it, and of course I like my uncle, and of course I like my dad, and I like war movies and stuff too, and so he put it on in the living room, but my kitchen looked down into the living room, so I kept finding excuses to go into the kitchen and watch this R-rated movie. And I basically watched most of the movie from up in the kitchen, while my dad and uncle watch Heartbreak Ridge. So,
Like proper human beings on the couch.
yeah, right, exactly. Real observant, probably didn't even know I was there. And of course, they're laughing, and they thought it was awesome. And I wouldn't say it wasn't probably till later where I was on HBO 1,000 times where I started kind of paying more attention to it. And of course, by that point, my parents didn't care what I watched.
No, your mom and dad were pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's definitely, like you said, it's definitely a classic. I would have to say for me, it's probably one of the reasons I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. It was one of those that you kind of, well, I mean, so Heartbreak Ridge was a good movie, and it was one of the things that endured the Marine Corps to me, but it didn't have as I didn't love it as much until after I was a Marine. I didn't appreciate it as much until after I was a Marine. As far as those movies went, like the standard was like Full Metal Jacket, but even then, that wasn't like what drew me. You know the story, like Aliens was my I want to go be a Marine movie because Marines were badass in that.
Right.
Marines were badass in Heartbreak Ridge, but it was it was one of those things that endured me to them, and we worked with misfits, but like the Marine Corps typically is not like that at all.
Oh no, I think I mean this is without doing any sort of research and just from my past knowledge, but I believe the Marine Corps disavowed that movie because it made Force Recon of all people look like terrible and undisciplined and horrible.
Yeah.
And and not only that, but all officers are assholes,
Yeah.
and most staff NCOs are kiss asses.
Yeah.
Except for Clint Eastwood. Everybody's an asshole but Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's a slacker.
Yeah. And despite the fact too that they went for numerous runs in at Camp Lejeune, and
Right.
there's hardly any trees.
Right. Yeah. Camp Lejeune, i.e., Camp Pendleton.
Yeah. Yeah. The was it Combat Town where he comes around and fires the AK.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, well, I trained there. You were East Coast Marine.
You were a Hollywood Marine. I was East
I was
Coast.
a Hollywood, yeah, and you were Sand Fleas.
Yeah, yeah. And although if you listen to you Hollywood boys, it's what is it? It's harder because of the hills, right?
Mountains. They're mountains. They're not hills. Yeah, it sucks. And you can't kill the bugs. There's giant ass scorpions, and they won't let you kill them.
Oh yeah, well,
It's a wildlife preserve of all places to have a wildlife preserve on Marine Corps base.
What, in California? That's shocking.
Yeah, yeah. It's the almost extinct, eight-legged furry tarantula spider.
Well, we weren't allowed to kill sand fleas. Was it Jack Webb said if you did, you had to give him a funeral?
Yeah. Dig a little hole.
Yeah, we didn't have to do any of that, but my favorite thing is in boot camp when they would let us get skin so soft, but then never actually put it on
Yeah.
and yell at us for scratching. And they say, you don't see us scratching, but they'd be literally glistening with the stuff. And you'd see
Yeah.
the sand fleas drowning to death in their arms. And yet,
Yeah.
no wonder you're not scratching. Meanwhile, you're marching us through a whole, grass filled,
Yeah.
thing of sand fleas.
Yeah. I've asked myself that very question, which one would I think I would have rather have gone to? Weather wise, it's hard to argue that Southern California is definitely the place to go train weather wise. I mean, it can get hot, and then the sand fleas and that argument. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Plus, you guys had alligators and shit too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
I don't know, man. The needle
so
moves again.
if I'm not mistaken, there was I think there was an alligator that was right out in front of the front gate there, and I think they pointed it out to all the moms and dads who come for Parents' Day and stuff like that. And I do know that we were with a staff sergeant. It was a marksman, what is it, PMI, primary marksman instructor, and they had to go after a couple boots that tried to jump, leave the island, and they got stuck in the mud, and they had to get them before alligators might come and get them. They had to dig them out of the mud because one guy got stuck. So
And I did hear that. Yeah, there was a story of one recruit that tried to make a break for it, and they never saw him again.
sometimes I have to wonder if those are just stories they tell us or if it was really happened. I'm sure we can look it up on the internet and find out the truth, but who has
Yeah.
time for that? I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for
He
that.
shouldn't have ran. Yeah, he signed the line. He shouldn't have gone anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, and that's of course, that's something that we failed to mention when we introduce ourselves. One of the reason that we are doing this movie and the Marine Corps Movie Minute podcast is because I never get the syntax correct.
Yeah.
Marines, once a Marine, always Marine. I don't like to identify myself as a current Marine because I think it
Yeah.
takes away from the guys currently serving.
Right.
But once
We're
Marine,
all
always
members of the
so, yeah.
brotherhood.
Right, exactly.
And plus, it's not something you just shake off, man. Once you served as a Marine, unless you legitimately got kicked out for being a complete shitbag,
Right.
it's something you really kind of, it's a point of pride.
Yeah.
Kind of take it with you everywhere.
I mean, I'm wearing a Marine Corps shirt right now.
I saw that, yeah. I need to get me some Marine Corps shirts. I don't really fit in any of my old ones anymore.
I know. I was looking for someone to got you that knife.
Oh, we're actually recording now, dear.
Oh, that's fine.
I told her earlier. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're just playing around. No, we're actually recording. She was getting a shower.
Hey, welcome our special guest.
My wife, who, by the way, got pregnant with our son at Marine Corps Ball, and my son, which was born on my EAS date.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We can edit all this out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, Full Metal Jacket was a cool movie. Right? And everybody kind of points to that. But the only reason anybody points at it is because the boot camp scene is so unique. That
Right.
first half of that movie. But as far as like overall, just a quality movie, not accurate. I mean, it's pretty far from accurate, but just as far as just like a cool movie, Heartbreak Ridge is probably one of the best like Marine Corps movies. It pays homage in the right spots, and it really does kind of capture the attitude.
Well, to me, Clint Eastwood's a quintessential Marine in that movie. I mean, even that is a bit, he is definitely an old school Marine in that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just something about. I mean, I like the guy anyways. I can watch
Yeah.
pretty much any movie he's in.
Yep. Greatest Marine that never was.
Right. Although I have to double check this, but I thought he was a Korean War veteran, but he may have just been in the service just after that.
Yeah,
But
it may be.
either way, he is. I mean, he's just a great actor, but he's at least in my opinion. But
Yeah.
he was just so good in that movie. It was written well. I was thinking about it. Like, I don't know if you would exactly call Stitch Jones cool, but at the time I thought Stitch Jones was cool as all get out. Looking
Yeah.
back, I don't know if it really still is, if that holds up. We'll have to see as we go minute by minute.
Well,
But
Stitch Jones. I was thinking about it. I was like, trying to break the movie apart, and it was like, because like I said earlier, or I mean, it didn't get captured in this, but when I said earlier that like the Marines don't really lend themselves to movies like Stripes. So as close as you're going to get is going to be something like this movie, and Stitch Jones is going to be your Bill Murray character, and Gunny Highway is Sergeant Holka, the big toe.
it's the big toe, right?
Yeah.
That is funny because it is a serious movie. It talks about, I mean, Grenada was a short engagement,
Yeah.
but it is a real life engagement. It's definitely about a Marine who he's basically getting out. He's been a Marine his whole life, and really being in the Marines is basically like being in a cult.
Yeah, it is a cult. It's a
So
cult.
it's about an aging guy who's trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life and life past the core, and some people maybe have a hard time adjusting to that, but from there, but it really is a funny movie.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, his one, I wouldn't really call them one-liners, but his all his little sayings, Panther piss, and all this stuff. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's quotable as hell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's still quotable. Still, clusterfuck. Nobody knew what the hell a cluster. I don't even know that word existed before this movie, and I'm sure it did. But we were what, 10 and 11?
Yeah. Exactly. And I use that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't use Panther piss, even though I did just reference it too often.
Yep.
I should bring that into my lexicon.
Yep.
So there's that, but
there's all kinds of memorable things about that movie. Just different things that were said, and Ayatollah of rock and roll. Just
Well, that reminds me of something like Apollo Creed would name himself, but like, but yeah, but like the Ayatollah of rock and roll, all the names he came up with, profiles, prophylactic, and
Ajax,
stuff like that.
You ladies look like models,
right? Just improvise, adapt, overcome. I use that all the time.
Yeah.
Never would have used that if it wasn't for him.
Nope.
For this movie,
That's one of those things that it really does kind of. That's pretty accurate. That's a Marine mentality.
Yeah.
Shipwrecks all the time. Most of our stuff never worked. Figure it out.
Right.
Oh, the computers are down. Okay, cool. Well, here's a map and a pencil. Get to work.
That to me is it's probably my favorite Marine Corps movie. Like you mentioned, I like Heartbreak Ridge. We're talking about Heartbreak Ridge. I like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I love the boot camp stuff, the first half. I love what is it? I always get his name wrong. Arlie Ermy. I think he's great. The Gunny, he's awesome. I really could care less about the Vietnam parts personally.
Yeah.
It drags. I mean, there's some good stuff in it.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's like the war movie of like Dusk Till Dawn. You got the heist movie at the beginning and the vampire movie at the end. It's kind of the same idea. You got the boot camp movie and then the actual war movie.
So we're gonna go through the Heartbreak Ridge minute by minute and kind of pick it apart and see if it still holds up. See if we still think it's the greatest movie, Marine Corps movie. Maybe Full Metal Jacket. I was talking about that right now. Might be a little teaser. Maybe what's to come if we can actually get through this minute by minute podcast.
Yeah.
Still survive it and see if we know what we're actually doing. Because spoiler alert, we don't know what we're doing.
No, we never do.
And but we're gonna improvise, adapt, and overcome. See what I did there? I circled back around. And
tied it all together. Yes. All right, good job.
Yeah. Hey, we might be okay at this after all. So okay, I think we've talked about the what we're here to do, a little bit of our history with the Heartbreak Ridge, the movie. This is just just to kind of get together, introduce ourselves, talk about the movie, kind of let everybody know that we are joining the Minute by Minute movie podcast family, I guess. Give it a try, and we'll see what we can do breaking this movie down. Are you ready for it there,
Yeah,
Perry?
it's ought to be a lot of fun. Plus it gives me an opportunity to hang out with my boy and talk about a cool movie.
Yeah.
Like literally just beat it to hell.
And that's it.
Minute.
That's it for me. Ultimately, it was I listened to a bunch of podcasts, and it's like, what if I ever did one? What movie would I like to do, and who would I like to do it with? And the answer to that question first was, you, Perry. And since we're not, in the same city anymore, this is a good excuse. Not that we need one to get on the. Well, of course, we talk, we chat, but now we're on the computer. We can sit here and we talk about a movie we like. It's something we care about, the Marine Corps.
Yep.
We have opinions, and everybody's entitled to them.
Mm-hmm. Everybody gets a taste.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and share them with everybody because why not? And I said this is that's ultimately the real reason we're doing this is just to have an excuse to hang out with a friend, and hopefully everybody has as good a time as we do talking about it, listening to us. So, thanks for listening, and we'll hopefully we'll get this started soon.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoy it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.